We know for certain that the way that particularly Kamala Harris, but also Tim Walz to a lesser degree, had been speaking about guns was not polling well with people who can vote, who are registered to vote. And we know that because they're on the defensive.
We are the Armed Attorneys. Today we're going to be talking about some alarming numbers when it comes to gun owners, how this stuff is going to affect the election. There's some positive news here, and Tim Walz just can't help himself. But we're going to be covering all this and more. But before we begin, show your support for the Second Amendment by hitting that like button. And all right, we got to start with the Waltz, because you have experience with this shotgun.
I do. Let's roll the clip.
Just not quite right. How do you give it back?
Governor, what kind of gun is it?
This is a Beretta A4.
That looked like the perfect handling of any firearm.
All right, I got things to say. Number one, how can a military veteran handle a firearm like that? And honestly, truly, I don't know. I don't understand.
And I mean, I can't say that I'm an expert with shotguns. I've shot a lot of shotguns in my life, but I've never seen anyone load a shotgun like that.
Well, you don't support it on your crotch when you load it?
No, I mean, I don't know.
Right.
I'm interested to hear.
So,
I mean, how do you do this? You flip it over and you load it.
You flip it. You flip it. So yes, I will say, I am a clay bird girl.
Sure.
I am a proud owner of a Beretta A400 Excel, by the way. So that's like one of those things. Like, remember when Kamala was like, I have a Glock, and then blank space.
Yeah.
Where someone would normally
say 19 or 43X.
19, 43, 42. Or I think she said it was 9mm, so no, it would be a 42. But yeah, I mean, there's, question mark.
Also, I have questions. Is that gun legal in the state of California?
I have questions about that too. But so generally speaking, I will say, and maybe I am just maybe I am out of the norm, but when I tell people, particularly people who are other shotgun people, what I shoot, I've never said a Beretta A400 because it could be an Excel, it could be an Explorer, it could be an Extreme. Like, I want them to know, like, it's the Excel.
Yeah.
But I don't, but Ron Burgundy, I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I don't believe that is your gun.
All right. He's doing this. He's trying to court. I mean, the Harris campaign's having trouble with males.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to.
Why would that be?
Maybe because they tell men to. I can't say it on YouTube. They hate you, though. They have pretty bad messaging when it comes to this stuff. Yes, and so, I see what they're trying to do. I see you. I see what you're trying to do. But, all right. I think this is where we get into some kind of crazy numbers, and this is where the good news is. Gun owners can absolutely change the outcome of the election.
Gun owners can swing this election easily, handily.
Yeah, and what started this was Rasmussen Reports. They're a great independent pollster. They have fantastic, I think they do a really fantastic job when it comes to this stuff, and they ask a lot of questions, not necessarily election related, that just kind of gives you some public opinion insight. I can't recommend them enough, but they had some really shocking numbers that if it rings true, this particular poll was with Pennsylvania. They were talking about, what percentage of self-identified gun owners were not registered to vote. It was over 30%.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and if that is, you extrapolate that across the country, I mean, we're talking more than 25 million people just who might be eligible to vote who aren't voting.
Right. And like put that number aside, because those people, it's too late. It's too late now to register to vote. But oh my gosh, do it now anyway, just for the next election cycle.
Some states you can still register. Some states have same day registration. Yeah.
Well, look at that. Texas does not.
No.
So put that aside completely. We know for certain that the way that particularly Kamala Harris, but also Tim Walz to a lesser degree, had been speaking about guns was not polling well with people who can vote, who are registered to vote. And we know that because they're on the defensive. I heard, my obsession with the Daily Wire.
Sure.
So the Daily Wire had a really good way to put that the other day. They were like, you know who is worried about their campaign because it's the person who is most telegraphing that they're on the offense, not defense.
Okay.
Those are the guys who are most worried. They're actually on the defense. And that's what this Kamala Harris casually dropping that she has a Glock, Tim Walz being like, look at me. I definitely know how to operate a firearm.
Hello, fellow gun owner.
Those are offense moves, right? But they're actually defense moves because they have seen the polling and they are scared about what's going to happen with people who list the Second Amendment as a priority.
Yeah, the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, he doesn't speak fast enough, so I can, he puts me to sleep. But
Stop it. God, I love
why?
Ben Shapiro.
But we're talking about millions. Listen, this is where, and we got some very specific steps for y'all to take at the end of this. But there are millions of gun owners who are not participating, and this is, we like to talk about court cases. Guess what? Court cases, that's the pressure release valve when it comes to Second Amendment rights. And we hope we never have to get to that kind of decision. That means that we failed at the ballot box, that we failed at the legislature, and this stuff is being enforced. And this is one of the last legal remedies that we have. So we want to go upstream, fix this stuff if we can. If we have tens of millions, that's what that number extrapolates out to. Tens of millions of gun owners who are not participating. The last election was won by just a few tens of thousands of votes. You're talking about tens of millions of votes. This really, the gun-owning demographic can control the election.
Yes, and why is it so? It's always important. Every election is important. However, this next president has a huge impact on the Supreme Court bench, right?
Yeah. So we have 2, possibly 3 Supreme Court spots up for grabs for the next election. And what does that mean? All right, they appoint a 35 to 45-year-old judge. We're talking about securing Second Amendment rights for a generation. I think that's a pretty healthy exercise. If you can secure liberty for one more generation, you're doing all right.
You're doing well. So, but although I will say, we have, right, we're our oldest justices, right? We've got Thomas at 76,
Alito at 74.
right, and Sotomayor in maybe bad health. There's a lot of dispute.
Yeah, there's some rumors, but that's where we say that possibly 3.
Yeah, but I will say that if you apply the Ruth Bader Ginsburg standard to them, those guys have more than a decade each.
Yeah.
So if we have a Walz-Harris administration next time, they're hopefully can hang on to our liberty, guys, because there's time, I hope. But you want them to go ahead and be able to step down comfortably while there is a Republican in office to replace them.
Right. And so, you talk about losing 2 conservative justices. That's a 4-point swing. We have a 5-4, gun grabbing court.
Oh, yeah.
And you see this stuff kind of starts getting untangled fairly quickly.
Very quickly.
And
quickly.
And the Supreme Court's not bound to its precedent. So this New York State Rifle and Pistol Association framework that we're all very excited about,
it would go away.
That would probably go away.
It would go away immediately. So what can people do, Richard?
This is where, all right, and I know you all are in a group thread with a bunch of your buddies, and they probably are gun owners. This is where you need to make a plan to vote. You need to text your buddies in your little group and say, hey guys, what's our plan for voting? And I want y'all to, you do something fun. Maybe I'll go vote and you go grab lunch or go grab dinner, whatever you're going to do. Election day, early voting, it doesn't matter, but you need to have a plan to vote.
Yeah, I would say early vote.
Yeah.
Because just as a general matter, this has nothing to do with guns or not, but just life happens, right? So
sometimes it rains on election day.
True.
Yeah.
No, that swings elections. But anything can happen on election day. Try to make a plan to early vote, because then you're not going to get all the way to election day and find out that you have to rush Richard to the emergency room because he cut his foot.
Yeah, thank you.
The Limpy McGee around the office right now.
But have a plan. This election's very important. We see how it could absolutely change the makeup of the Supreme Court. We see a lot of gun owners not engaged. It's time to get engaged, guys. Let's fix this stuff upstream. But we hope you enjoy this discussion. If you did, consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and help us fight the anti-2A algorithm by sharing this video.
And always question and comment for us below. Until next time, we're the armed attorneys.